Hello and welcome to another episode of the Complete Agent Podcast, where each week we get together to talk all things estate agency. This week I am joined by Ian Storey and James Kendall as always, but James Kendall's not made it to the pod just yet. Do we know where he is, Ian?
Absolutely no idea.
Right. Okay.
We think he might not be a very well little boy, so hopefully he'll join us as soon as he can.
Ian and JK have both been away. Ian, you're still away. You're in Mallorca at the moment. A lot of people will be surprised to hear that you're away, actually.
Well, we love Mallorca. We come to a little place in Mallorca. This is now we've been to Mallorca quite a few times. It's our second place to come into this particular part of Mallorca, and we love it. You know, it's 2 hours on a plane. Try and go from Liverpool if we can, because it's much easier than Manchester. And 2 hours and you're here. So we come for 10 days. Another 3 days left, and then we're back home. But then we're away again for the last 2 weeks in August as well. So very much how I live my life and how I think people can, if they have a business, that they grow in this right sort of way. You can definitely have a good split of family time if you graft your proverbials off in the intervening weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do obviously take the piss, but it's fair, mate. It's fair. I think it's what people should aspire to do, and I know that people do. So, absolutely, fair play to you, mate. And JK's, in contrast, been on a stag do, I think. So he's possibly struggling today.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what he's like when he comes on. But nevertheless, I'm going to ask you how your week's been. I'm guessing. Not much feedback today. I'm sure you've been checking in with the team, but go on.
Of course. So what I always do, what I've started doing when I come away is I set up a separate WhatsApp group just for my holiday, pin it to the top of my WhatsApps, add the team and our sales progressors in only, and I say to the team, anything that you need me to deal with directly goes on that group, and I won't check the other groups. Obviously, all the clients know that I'm away before I come away. So I've told them all already on my previous market update that I did for them. I told them all that I'm away. I've got all my out of offices set. So I only need to check that group. And do you know what? It's worked brilliantly. And I've had far fewer messages than I thought I would on that group. Testament to the team, obviously, being as good as they are. But that's worked really, really well. So I have been keeping in touch with things. And I was saying to you before we came on the pod that we've got a glut of listings, our brilliant listings, like average fee of 1.97%. Average price of 980 grand. So, we've got, and they're all on the market currently, but we've got about 35 listings, 35 to 40, which is a lot for us. So I was saying to you before we came on the pod that I'm actually quite pleased that we've not been putting on loads of new properties in the last couple of weeks, because we need a period of getting these other ones sold, which is starting to happen. While I've been away, Phil's been negotiating some offers. The day before I came away, I agreed a sale on one at just over 2 million, which is an absolute belter. And we have got interest on most stuff that we've got on the market. We did have an absolute catastrophic faller 2 days before I came away, which was at 2.62 mil, and they were buying off one offers at a mil. And I'd also negotiated an onward purchase on another thing they were buying as well. So that was quite a big chunky bit of money that fell out of the pipeline in one hit. But, as we've said all along, if you've got a good stream of these listings and you're at a certain point in your business where, all your fees are good, if you've got a really good average fee, then when you do lose a big one, obviously it matters, but it doesn't really massively matter, does it? You can sort of take it in your stride and just keep on going. So we've got an amazing pipeline. We're on track to do our bonus target for the year still, which is brilliant. But yeah, we're in that sort of period where people have been away. Meg was away last week. Phil's away this week. I've been away. Vicky's been away previous to that. So it's sort of holiday season. So it's quite nice to not be putting loads and loads on the market. Having said that, my diary for valuations, my diary for Vals is now booked up until the middle of August. So I haven't got a slot in I'm back in the office a week today. Haven't got a slot in my diary until mid-August for a valuation, which obviously is bonkers. So the last thing I need is valuations and listings. But equally, you've got to keep putting them on, haven't you? Because you will sell your available stock. So, it's the same old cycle. But really, things are good. How about you? I'm going to go to Mr. James Kendall because he's now joined the.
James Kendall's joined us. He looks actually not too bad.
Put
He
me on the
looks
spot
really
there.
Fresh.
Yeah, and he's going to enjoy listening back to that first, I think, 30 to 60 seconds of the podcast because he wasn't here for it. Yeah. If you choose to keep it in,
Excellent.
if you choose to keep it in,
well, I'll
then
just
the
assume
whole
that it was
world
all
knows
good
where
and
you've just been.
positive. Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, when I was flying back yesterday, I must admit, I don't like flying at the best of times, and the plane was delayed coming out of Malaga Airport, and we got on the plane, and literally, like, all the systems shut down, like the power just went bang, like, and all the lights went off, like all the air conditioning went off, and then the captain came on. Oh yeah, there's a fault with the plane. Like, brilliant. That's just what you want to hear. Anyway, it gets better. So we're then stuck on the plane for another hour waiting for a slot to come off. No one cares about this, by the way. But and then when we took off, like, the engine started going blah, 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 and then, like, the whole thing started shaking. I was like, brilliant. I was really looking forward to dying. But anyway, there we go. That was me. Been a good week though. We've had a really good month on sales so far. We got one at just over $1 million done, another one just under 900 done. We've got another one at 1.1 done, another one at 1.25 done. We've had a good month of £1 million this month. We've got lots coming on as well. Got a nice one at 1.75, 2% coming on. It's been on with another agent. Was on at over 2, coming on at offers over 1.75, which is good. Lots of good stock coming on. I can't actually do a val for a couple of weeks now, but I mean, yeah, vals are up, sales are up. To be honest, you know, we've really kind of adapted early to the whole having a conversation with people on price. And one thing that's been really working well, I think I said it a couple of weeks back, is that, you know, you almost want to think about where you want to pitch it and then drop it down one band, offers over. And that's been working really well. And we've been getting strong money. You know, it's even been outperforming where it would have gone if it was at the upper band. So, you know, if it's it's a classic, isn't it, guys? It's priced right and marketed well. Guess what? It'll sell.
Yeah, never.
But the only problem we have in this area, as I'm sure you guys don't in yours, is that there are a lot of agents undercutting and overvaluing. So that's always a challenge. Have you done your week yet, Dave?
No. So yeah, the same sort of thing, echoing really. I mean, instructions are strong. Our stock lists are strong, and it's the same, I think, everywhere you look. I mean, if you look at all the statistical data that's come out and stuff from Rightmove, and when you're speaking to agents around the country, I think there's similar challenges, isn't there? You know, we are going through a transitional period in the market, and I think people just need to get real with the prices. But like we've always said, if they price correctly, they will sell. I mean, I've had a really good example of one where it's a 800,000 basically. So I sold next door, and the next door was on at 950. It was bigger. It was in much better condition. It was move-in ready. It was really nice. It was the corner plot, so it was a big plot of land.
Did the builder build it for himself?
Yeah, builder built it for himself. So obviously we sold that quite quick. And next door invited me out, so I went to see him. And in contrast, it's the same style of house, but quite a bit smaller. The plot size was smaller, and literally everything needs doing to the house. So it's really nicely presented and it's well looked after, but you do everything to it. And so we went through all the price per square foot and everything at the time, and I was sort of saying it probably sits somewhere in the region of 780 to 825, 830. Well, I want 900 for it. I thought, right, well, it's not going to go at 900 because the market doesn't support that. And at the risk of sort of putting an opinion on it, as you know, guys, we never really try and avoid having an opinion on the price because the market dictates. But, you know, sometimes you have to give, obviously, your outlook, and because you've got to think about who's buying it. So I politely said to him, and he knew this, you know, that every single room somebody's going to want to do something with to the owners. You know, we've touched on that, and it's a 3,500 square foot house, so it's not going to be cheap to do this, and everybody's going to want to factor it in. They're going to know what's happened next door, and I know. I tell you what, we'll try at 875. I'm like, it's still, I knew from day one. And I think we've talked about taking like a commercial decision, haven't we?
Yeah.
And you've got to sometimes weigh up the motivation of the owner and take a view on it. So they were always going to sell. So I decided to take it at 875. Anyway, it went under offer this week at 800,000.
No way.
Yeah,
What a surprise.
exactly.
Funny that.
After 3 months, and the owner had actually texted me. He's a really nice guy, by the way, and we get on. But he's one of these where he's on his text messages. It's just like straight to the point. David, it seems really quiet. Yeah, it will be, Dave, because you're on £75,000 too much. So those are the conversations that we were having. And as soon as he eventually went to offers over 8, lo and behold, it sold. So
crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely that. But, overall, we've had a strong month on sales. Disappointing one last week where we had a nice chain of 3. And then just as we're about to start conveyancing, the bloody buyer at the bottom of the chain pulled out. So we're now back to square one on that. And then I had another faller last week, but I did a viewing on the post at the weekend. So we'd originally sold it for $1 million. It fell through on Friday. I went through our database, got somebody there on Saturday, and he's just offered 1.1. So it fell, but we got 100 grand more. So owners are delighted, and we're going to get that into conveyancing this week. So overall, yeah, pretty good. It seems like it's similar for the three of us, but I'm the same now. I go away at the start of August, and I can't get anybody in for a valuation before that. So we're really, really busy in that respect. So it's the same old problems, isn't it, lads? I don't think we're struggling with stock levels. I don't think people are necessarily struggling with, well, there will be people struggling with lead generation, but if you're following consistent lead generation strategies, then there is so much business to be had out there at the moment. It's just a case of, like you said, JK, I think people, you need to manage it, maybe try and, learn how to get it into, have conversations where you can get it into that price band below, and get things moving. I think that is the market we're in. I've said it a couple of times to people, but I honestly think that this market's got a recession feel about it. I really do. Just the way it's behaving, not the fact that we're in recession. And we could argue all day about the political side of things and where the economy might be going, but it's the way that buyers are behaving, the way that vendors are behaving. There's a reality check, and I think that houses like I've just mentioned there, once the sale goes through, then people start to go, right, that's the new normal, and that's.
I saw do you see that line from Tom Panos that dropped the other day that he used about being on the market when your sellers won't listen to you on a price reduction, and you just say, look, right now you're on top of the market, you're not in the market. And everyone is using your property as a benchmark to show that theirs is good value. So your property at the high price is helping everyone else sell their property at a slightly lower price because they're using that as a benchmark and making theirs look good value. So do you want to be on top of the market or do you want to be in the market? We've had a real good drive on price realignments recently. And obviously with helping people do onward negotiations, we talk about it a lot, and we do charge for onward negotiations, but sometimes we do freebies because sometimes that can unlock a sale by saying to people, look, if we can get you down 50k and get you an offer, you want to upsize, let's try and get you 50k plus off the next house. What are you looking at? Have a conversation with the agent ahead of the reduction and say, look, we're looking to do this. Do you think your client would be open to dropping 50 plus as well? And we've done that a few times where the prices have now come down 50k. We're negotiating on one at the moment where we just happen to be involved actually with both houses in the chain. Hence, obviously, we can't do onward negotiation, etc., because it's conflict of interest. But we had a really good offer on one at 800 at 750 from someone, and they really like one that we've got at 850, and they can only pay 8. So we've basically had an open conversation with the client and said, look, you've been on the market. She was on the market with like 2 other agents for about a year before, and said, look, the market's telling us that this is where it's at. This client is really interested. Just to be open and transparent with you, she's had to take a 50k hit, but it's a really good chain. Are you open to, a 50k chop on the price on yours? But also, let's see what we can do on the next house that you want to buy as
Yeah.
well. She wants to buy through another agent. She's seen one she likes in another area, so we're having the conversation with her at the moment, and it looks like we'll wrap those two deals up, because I think sometimes as agents, you either generally in three camps as an agent. You're a good agent trying to do the right thing. You're a not very good agent and just taking orders, or you're a bad agent and you'll do a deal at any cost.
Yep.
And I just think the middle, a lot of people fall into sometimes that middle camp,
Yeah.
where you've got the best of intentions, but you let your emotions get in the way of a deal sometimes. Rather than having the conversations with people that you need to have and giving them the advice they need to hear. Sometimes I think people can be critical of going, well, I wouldn't take that, that's ridiculous, and almost wearing it like a badge of honor and getting in the way of a deal, when sometimes what they need to do is just go, look, okay, it's not where we want to be. I get that. However, this is what's on the table. What does this look like moving forward for you to then buy the next house?
Yeah, it's definitely focused my attention on only bringing stuff on that from now, over the next couple of months, that I think is really gonna sell. I mean, and that might sound obvious, but I think in quieter times you are maybe a little bit more relaxed with that. But certainly now, with the amount of stock we've got on the market, it's really focused my attention to think, look, I'm only going to bring stuff on that I think is going to sell. And even then, we're even getting to the point where, do we need to be thinking about saying to people, look, we're not going to be putting anything new onto the market until September, or do you know what I mean, to allow us to clear some stuff down, because you just can't keep going and going, because then your service drops, doesn't it? And then as soon as your service goes,
think, no, just on that, something, mate, you just maybe reminded me of something there. One of the things that we're doing at the moment with some of our clients is, especially more the mid to upper, well, I mean, we are mainly mid to upper end anyway now, but like the mid, like as in, I'm talking 800-900 to kind of 2 mil. What we're doing at the moment is market ready launches for September for quite a few of them.
Okay.
Because with private schooling in this area, like a lot of people are going away for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
School holidays, etc. Whether you accept it or not, as an agent, the market is a much more cyclical time that we're in, and the summer holidays to sell those sort of homes is not the peak time. There's an argument to say that the serious buyers are always there, but if your serious buyer is away with their family for 4 weeks, in the Middle East somewhere, or in Spain or wherever they've gone, that regardless of whether they are a serious buyer or not, they're not going to fly back for a holiday with their family just to come and view a house. So put yourself in the best place with with those super homes, and where the clients are maybe not under so much time pressure. You can get their market ready, have everything lined up, and then you can have a real go in September, that first week of September when the schools go back. Launch them all fresh to the market. I just think clients, we obviously talk about the 16-step plan, and having a plan for clients, and I think clients really respect that. There's a few that we've got where they've gone, should we launch now? What do you recommend? And I've already kind of said, well, look, I want to talk to you about that. I don't think the time to launch your house is going to be the first week of August, because I think you'll be disappointed. I think what we need to do is launch it at this attractive price, and then launch it in September. So we'll launch it at that attractive price in September. However, there is something we have done recently. We just trialed on a couple of homes. Our social only launches for it sounds like, oh yeah, we do that anyway. But I mean, social only launches for like 3-4 weeks before they go on Rightmove.
Yeah, bit of price feedback.
We'll price it just in general to see what happens, because I just I'm very conscious that, and whether agents accept this or not, it's the reality. Rightmove is a big place for a lot of leads, and if people judge you whether you like it or not, and then when I mean people, I mean potential buyers, they judge you by how long you've been listed on Rightmove. And I think if you launch on Rightmove at right at the end of July, and you've been on 5 weeks, and people start looking in September, they go, oh, it's been on for 5 weeks, nobody wants to buy it. Whereas if it's been on social media, you might pick up, there's a sort of air of exclusivity about it, where if you're on social media, somebody might come along, somebody might make you, to quote you, Dave, a show-stopping offer to stop it launching to Rightmove. But then equally, the full launch comes in September time. And I'll tell you one more thing that has been really, really good for us recently is we've been really working our database and getting to know our hot buyers. The
Yes.
last mastermind, having that hot buyers like board and having that everyone at front of mind, it's been really good. You know, I think we've done 3 or 4 off market deals in the last 6 weeks, just where, you know, we've had a house come, we've sent the video after the video's been edited and the client's approved it. We've sent the video to other people that we've got that are sold or are ready to buy that have seen other houses. We're firing that out on WhatsApp to them. We've done a couple of off-market viewings ahead of sort of Rightmove, and we've had the old classic showstoppers. So that looks really good for clients. It's not really the market for show-stopping offers really at the moment, let's be honest. But if you get a really good house and I call them generational homes. If you get a generational home, you know, 25, 30-year opportunity, people will pay for those homes regardless of the market, especially at the upper end. So I just find that, you know, it's a little tip there. You know, the social only launches and you know, off market has been really good for us right now.
Well, let's have a quick chat about market then, because we're going to make it's a bit of a shorter pod this week just because of the time constraints we've all got. So we'll just have a quick chat about the market, and one of the things that's prompted the type of chat we're having today is that we are just about to send out our Q2 review letter to all our usual targets. So myself and Ian, I think, are around 7,500-8,000 letters. JK, you do 10,000 every quarter. So that's done and sent out to our members last week. So hopefully they will be cracking on with that as well. But some of the things that we've shared in it, guys. I mean, you know, I think we are talking about this, and you know, I'm just picking out a few bits that's in there, and it's stuff that you can get across to your client. Really, I mean, if we look at timing, so you've touched on it a little bit there, but I do think when you speak to a lot of people, if you ask them quite a direct question about, do you want to move by Christmas? Do you want to be out of this house by Christmas? And they'll go, yeah, of course we do. I don't genuinely think they realise that they have to be under offer in the next couple of months to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know
if that, but
yeah,
then, you know, it needs to be sooner. I mean, average conveyancing time 154 days.
Yeah,
they used to go under offer 59 now, I think it is.
Yeah.
You know, do the maths there. The math ain't mathing. You know, it's going to be January, February time. You know, unless you get a short chain.
Exactly. So acting now is really, really important, and I think it's just another way to really ram that message home. I mean, I went and did, and I'd highly recommend it, certainly for the high value stuff, where it's very much worth your time. But I would say having vendor visits for those ones that are really struggling is crucial. Treat it like another valuation, and just be completely honest. I mean, I sat down with a client a couple of weeks ago, and they're on at 1.25 million. At the time of the valuation, all the pricing data told me that was about right. In fact, they wanted more than that. We looked at the price data, they agreed and set the price at that level. They've only had 4 viewings in the first couple of months. It's not enough to sell it, and the feedback's pretty consistent. But now we've got more data available to us, and we've done more viewings on other things in the area, things like that. We can give them an honest assessment. And I always use that phrase, we've now got the benefit of experience. But to be sat in front of them and going through all this and showing them, you know, what we've been doing, but equally what the market's doing, you know, nothing around them is selling them at similar sort of levels, but the ones that are going under offer, they've all got the red tags on them, they're all in and around 1 million, 1.1 million. So we then have to have sensible conversations about, you know, what does that look like for you? You know, if you're only getting 1.1 million, how does that honestly impact your life? Do we need to adjust anything? And the reality is they're past retirement age. They want to realise their money out of their house. They have to move. It's got to happen for them. Whether it's £1 million or £1.25 million, it just means they'll probably have to adjust the strategy. What they can't do is stay in this 3-story house that's 5,000 square feet. There's 2 of them, and they're past retirement age. So they really appreciate the honesty and the sort of, well, the realism of the market. They want to understand what's happening so that they can make these informed decisions. So having that in-person conversation like a new valuation, I think, is extremely valuable. I know you guys do them as well, but is that something you're talking about at the moment? Timing with your clients?
I think a lot of the things I've been saying to people at the moment, especially in the mid-market, is really just articulating what life is like for those people trying to buy in the mid-market. So I know we talked about it in the update, but aggregate inflation at over 30% over 5 years, wages haven't grown by 30%, school fees going up 20%. People go to the supermarket, and I put it in language that these sort of people understand, that you go to Waitrose or Marks and Sparks, and 5 years ago, you for £100 you could have 3-4 bags of shopping of the good stuff. Nowadays, one bag's £100 nearly. And that's what's affecting that mid market, and it's interest rates as well. When we go, normally if I'm going for price change, or even on as easy as the initial meeting on the Val, is articulating that the two arcs of where the peak was and where the mini budget was, and where the interest rates are, and that in this section here, to buy your house and take a 600k mortgage, it's probably costing them £2,000 a month. In this section here, it's 5,000, maybe 6,000, plus everything else with aggregate inflation, energy costs, all lumped in on that. It's more expensive. The cost, as you put it, Dave, you've got such a good way of putting things that I spin in my own way, is that it's the cost for acquisition that's changed, which is what's dipped buyers out of the market, and there are more sellers in the market. So if all things being equal, people are going to choose on price, and people can choose on price. So your price is going to need to attract people through the door, and ultimately, I don't value your house, you don't value your house, the market values your house, and my job is there to help you make informed decisions, by making sense of the numbers. Someone said that before, haven't they?
You didn't do it in a Bolton
brilliant,
accent. I mean, just looking at the current market conditions and some of the stuff that's been released by Rightmove, I mean, this is, again, it's so important, because we look at land registry data. I've been preparing for Val this morning, and the latest land registry data available to me is going back to May. So it's good to know all that, which is fantastic, and we can see what the market's been doing. But the reality is, we need to know what's happening in July, and Rightmove have all the available data to them. So it's really important that you know it, and you can articulate what's happening in the market to your clients. Current market conditions. So this is something I think you touched on in one of your videos as well, Ian, which I watched, and it was good. Your market update for your local market. But buyer demand is up 3%, but stock levels are up 11% year on year. So there is a disparity there. It sounds great that 11% stock levels are up 11%. I think people are selling, but actually buyer demand is up, but it's not matching the number of houses that are coming to the market. So there's many more houses coming to the market than there are buyers actually looking for houses. So there's no question we're moving into a market we're already in it, where the buyers have got a bit more of the power. The average 5-year fixed mortgage rate is 4.61%. Now, people see that interest rates are coming down as a headline thing, but it's not changing much. It's not changing much. So the affordability is stretched, like JK's just said. And I think what you need to do is articulate it in monetary terms. What does that actually mean? I use it in every single valuation that, if we look at I'm like I said, I'm prepping a valuation now for one this afternoon. And if I look at the average house price today, the latest data that I've got, it's almost the same as the middle of 2021, where the market was absolutely bonkers. The problem is there's now fewer buyers in the market. There's more stock, so they've got more competition. But that mortgage rate means that if the house that I'm going to today, which is probably going to be in around 700,000, if I'm buying that house in 2021, I'm probably paying around £1,100-1,500 a month. If I'm buying that today, it's probably going to cost me £3,500 a month. It's a massive difference for people. So when you give that information, the light bulb goes off. It's like, right, okay, I get it. And then you say to them, private school fees are up. This market, like you've said, JK, you've got multiple mouths to feed and clothe. Private school fees have gone up. A tin of beans at the till has gone up. Council tax has gone up. Utility bills have gone up. Everything has been squeezed. And I'll say this little story again, but I got think it was Craig Shrigley pulled me on it, didn't he, when I said it last time? He sold me out when I said it. But I said that I've got mates who are in the sort of this middle market. They've got very, very good jobs. And I was trying to get a weekend arranged, a weekend away arranged. They can't afford it. Got really good jobs. And I basically said in the room, if you remember, I can't get anyone to go away with me. And I think Craig Shrigley said, that's because you're horrible, mate.
You've got no mates.
You got no mates, mate. I teed him up nicely.
Both things are true.
But yeah, it's true. That middle market is suffering a little bit. And that is the one that's really, really stretched. And of course, there's always usually one that's lagging, but you need them linked together, don't you? You need first-time buyers buying. You need the middle market moving, and the top end will move as well. It's all linked together. But it's really important that you articulate that. Obviously, JK, you've just touched on inflation, but a massive. If this is not a stat that makes people understand that property prices are overpriced at the moment, I don't know what it is, but 30% of homes over 750,000 reduced their asking price in June, and that is the highest in 5 years. 30% of homes over £750,000 reduced their asking price in June.
That's massive.
And it's the highest in 5 years. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. But you can always bring it back to a positive spin. So sales are up 6% year on year. The average time to sell has come down. It's now 59 days. So it all comes back to the same thing. If your house is well marketed and priced well, it will sell. But it's got to be priced well for the market that you are in. And that is the key. Nobody can control that. And these are the things that you've really got to articulate and get across. Isn't that right, lads?
Yes, that is right, David.
So what are we thinking? Go on, Ian, give me something.
Well, I was just going to say that, everything you've said is correct, but it's about getting that across to the seller, and it's about not being scared of losing the listing, isn't it? Because
that's key.
That's the key. Commission breath is a Tom Panos phrase, isn't it? You've got to be scared of you've got to be not scared of losing it, and being confident to walk away that you've given the right advice, and that will, short term that might hurt, but long term it will definitely pay off. And we've been a bit guilty. I think every agent is really. You want a nice house on the market. We don't sell lower end homes. We only sell nice higher end homes, and you want them on the market. Because it's great for your brand. But you really, really want them on at the right money. As we've been recording this, I've been speaking to Aidan on my phone and going through the listings that we've got for this week. So we've got 5 listings coming on this week. Okay, bearing in mind we've already got a high level of properties on the market. We've got 5 listings due to come on. They're all under £1 million. Okay, one is a 4-bed 30 semi that's been minted, extended, but that was on with a previous agent at 450, didn't sell. We'd agreed they were going to come on with us at 425. But as we've been having this conversation, he needs to be on at 400, offers him a 400, not 425. Yeah. He needs to not mess around. So I'm going to speak to him on the back of this pod. I'm going to speak to that seller before he goes on Wednesday. We've got another one that we had on the market that we sold last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, at 630. I agreed with the seller that would come on at 600. But I know that seller's moving down south, retired couple, they're not in a mad rush. So I'm going to say to him, off the back of this pod, I think we should wait till September. I think we should put it on Facebook, put the board up, put the coming soon board up, do all those bits and pieces, but not launch on Rightmove until September. Then there's a couple of others that are Phil's that aren't mine, and another one which is a 20s detached house that's coming on at 400. And we've already had 3 inquiries on that off Facebook, off the reel on Facebook. So I'm going to put that on at 400 confidently that I think it'll just sell. And they're gold dust listings. But I think my point is I'm going to be now very, very conscious from today moving forward of exactly what's coming on and is it the right kind of money, and having those tricky combos with the seller. The first one at the start of that list, the 30 semi that's been extended that was on with an agent before us at 450 that we'd agreed would come on at 425. That won't be an easy combo because that's a flip. That's a developer flip. And obviously they all want as much money as possible. He's not moving his family on to the next stage of their lives, is he? He's doing it for profit, only for profit. So that won't be an easy combo, but he needs to hear it. He really needs to hear it. So it's
also though that the other thing is that if you get it on at 4 and it's really worth over 425, it'll go.
Yeah,
that's it. We've had them here where we've realigned the price, got competition, and then it's gone for more than, we had one the other week, and again we're talking about 400 grand here. There's 3 other similar homes nearby, all at 390, 395, been on the market for a month and a half, not sold. We got this one on, did the marketing well, offers over 375, we've sold it for nearly 400.
Yeah.
So, and then the other houses must be sitting there going, what on, they're thinking in the background, oh, well, they've just sold that at 375 then. But we've used those other houses as a benchmark to help sell ours. So, as I said earlier in the pod, the buyers that are looking at those are going, well, other people are paying 385, 395. That's what they're on the market for. We're getting them in on, under the looking like good value, and then using our skill to negotiate them as high as possible. And sellers delighted because they thought, they looked at the other homes in the area. So, we're talking about a modern, kind of like Red Rowy style detached 3-bed place, like really good condition, really nicely decorated. To be honest, relatively easy sale in terms of getting people through the door.
Yeah,
they listened to our advice on price. We've done the job, and we've now got a decent offer.
Yes, all valid. Another thing to say that I've just thought of, JK, is getting your sellers comfortable with people viewing that can't proceed. I've said this a lot, but I firmly believe that we're not in the market where you should be saying to people, you can't view it because you're not on the market or you can't proceed. We've sold, I've agreed sales on so many where the buyer could not proceed at the time. In some cases, they weren't on the market when they viewed it, but they loved it so much, they got theirs on the market quickly for a competitive price because they really, really wanted the one that I was selling. And it's they're sold, and we got a sale in the bag. We've got a couple of those at the minute. We've got one on 800, which is a character place, but it's an old mill. It's a beautiful place. So it attracted like 12 viewings. 11 of them didn't want it because they were concerned about the water, mainly. One of them absolutely loved it. They've got a 750 grand Red Row, which we listed within a week, went straight out, shot it, got it on. It's got 4 viewings on it already. It'll sell easily. It's in a great spot.
Yeah.
So that'll be a 15 grand fee on the Red Row, and it'll be a 16 grand fee on the other one. Agreed.
It goes back to, though, doesn't it, what we always preach about being the authority.
Yeah, it does. Tell them what they need to hear.
Not the order taker.
Yeah.
You said the order taker thing. It's so important that weaker agents, and I'm sorry to say that, but they will just be.
That's the reality, though, mate.
Yeah, and it's usually the larger corporates because they've got a bums on seats mentality. Well, it's not
here, mate. I've not got any large corporates near me.
Right, fair enough. Well,
they're all independent. Mainly,
but it's usually the ones that have got the bums on seats mentality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I always think back to like working.
Also, though, mate, sorry, just on that it's not. It's like you say, it's not always corporates, but it's those people that are just doing the same things. What was that Gatesy thing that you said? The mastermind. People want to, the 2018 work ethic, the 2022 results, in the whatever it was. But that the reality is that people are afraid to have the conversations that will make a difference.
They are. I think something just worth saying for people who are listening is, Dave, as our data boy, where can we point people to get this info that they can share with their clients? Just the Rightmove HPI? Is that enough?
I mean, the Rightmove House Price Index is really, really good because it's factual land registry data. Nobody can really argue with that. It's completed sales. It's always 2 to 3 months behind. And it's more regional, obviously. But it's good to have. Obviously, you can subscribe to people like Dataloft, 20EA, things like that, and
the complete agent.
I think you can do worse than that, and obviously the complete agent. Yes, we'll get you all this stuff. But having localized data is great. You've obviously got people like Simon Gates. You can go to House Metric, which will give you a certain level for free, and then there's a bit of a subscription on top of that, but I don't think it's a lot.
The only thing I would say about House Metric, I think it's brilliant, but it's very complicated.
Yeah, very complicated. Data. There's a lot going on in there.
Dataloft is very easy.
That's what I do like about Dataloft. It's quite easy to see.
It's easy to articulate, isn't it?
It's easy to articulate, and it's the important stuff. It's the important stuff that you need, and I think it's very, very important that you get this. But the other thing as well, Ian, it's just the right move house price index as
Yeah.
well. That's real time data. It's there. It's there for everyone to see, and you cannot argue with it. They've got every single listing pretty much in the country, something that's live, and you can't argue with what's happening in the marketplace. So all that your client is doing, if they ignore it, is they've got pride issues, essentially, if they think that the house is worth more than it actually is.
Yeah.
They just need, and people do need to get real. It's as simple as that, and it's just articulating it in a good way. But you touched on quite a few points there, and I think that obviously we always bang on about market ready and getting people ready for the autumn months now. If they're not thinking of selling, do the market ready. We have incredible amounts of interest on homes off social media launches. I mean, we have a very specific pre-launch strategy that we follow every time. We've just done 6 viewings at the weekend on a bungalow. We've recently we've not even launched it. That's what I'm saying. It's going on Rightmove this week, but we did 6 viewings at the weekend. If you do it properly, you can really gauge and feedback. So like this bungalow now is going to be hitting the market at 750 offers over. He's had an offer already at 7. A few of the others have said it's a bit too much at 750. So you can start having sensible conversations then about, what, we might be pitching this a bit too high. Or at least they know from day one. They can't say that you've not tried. Buy a database, obviously, like you said, JK, just get it out there to people.
Can I just say as well that the 3 lots of letters that we have provided our members with have had amazing results recently. The buyer letter, the WhatsApp group was going off the other day with all different results from the buyer letter and the on market letter. The amount of people that are getting incredible bang for their buck on those letters that are going out and coming back in. And what's really great about the on-market letter with the data that's in there is that people are ringing up and saying, love your letter. It's the best one I've had. I'm really serious about moving. Read everything that you said. Can we have a conversation about, you selling our house and what do we need to do on the price? So it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you before they've even picked up the phone or emailed you. And this quarterly update is, again, you've got to be consistent with it. If you're thinking about, taking your agency to the next level and want to sell the premium end of the market and want to join the complete agent, a letter has just been released. So if you want to get on that journey, get in touch with us now, because this is a brilliant time to join. We've got a mastermind coming up in September, which, again, we've got some really cool stuff lined up already. And this is going to be in Milton Keynes, isn't it? We've booked Milton Keynes now, haven't we?
Yeah.
So much more accessible, not just in Manchester. Much I love Manchester.
It's more accessible for you. Bloody hell, what are you talking about? More accessible.
What do you mean? You live in Manchester.
Yeah, I don't care.
You literally walks out his front door. Bye, guys. See you later. Just popping down road to Mastermind.
I mean, look, it's very accessible. Is Manchester? So I don't know. Let's just be careful with our wording there. Anybody can get to Manchester. I'm a bit. Me and Ian are not happy about Milton Keynes. Let me tell you.
No, you get a nosebleed every time you come to that Cheshire.
Exactly. Well, no, you are right with what you're saying, and
I think, Dave, can I just offer, just to interrupt?
Yes.
Sort of feels like we're getting near the end of the pod, and I think for me, it's a case of, having sold houses, having been in a estate agent for 23 years, this is cyclical. You will always have periods where you swell up in new listings, don't you? And then that period will fall again, and you'll be in a position where you need new listings, and it's just cyclical, isn't it? So what you've got to have is a strong process in your company for keeping those clients happy, because that's the key, is keeping them happy and stopping them changing agent, making them, educating them when you first bring them on, but then keeping in such regular contact with them that they trust what you're telling them all the way through. And that is the key, because you'll sell 80% of what we do. I know the average agent doesn't, but we sell 79% of what we put on the market. So I know we're going to sell 80% of the properties currently that are struggling to sell, but it's just about keeping those clients happy and having those conversations with people, and making sure that when you're on your valuations, you're being honest with people that, it's not particularly easy at the moment, but if you price it keenly and your marketing's amazing, then it will go in a certain time period. So I think it's important. I just want to get that across to people that it's about managing the process through at the moment while we're in that period of the market.
I also want to mention as well, I don't know how it comes across when we're all saying we're booked out for weeks and weeks in advance with valuations. We don't need more leads.
No.
It's not a brag. It's just the state of where we're at, and I'm quite conscious of the fact that there will be people out there who might be struggling for leads. But again, that's where this helps. We have a constant stream of valuations to go to. It's very rare that we have empty diaries, touch wood. Even in the quieter times, the ratios are very, very good. So if people need help with that, it's all there for you. I won't mention his name because he might not want me to, but we've had a new member join in the last few weeks. He's I think he was going to put it off, wasn't he, until August. And he decided, you know what, we had a chat with him. He came to the mastermind and he's just fast forwarded everything. I had a Zoom call with him last week, and he's just absolutely on it. He was messaging me yesterday, asking me some more information about the proposal side of the software and things like that. He is just absolutely on it, implementing really, really quick. And we know he's going to get great results. So yeah, if you are thinking about, if you're on the fence, been thinking about doing it, just maybe even just drop an email, get a bit further information. We can set up a call.
Dave, something else I just thought of is that even though we have a lot of listings and we can't get in my diary for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, and we've got a pipeline which is amazing, must be one of the best in the industry, and we're halfway to our target, I'm still sending 7,500 letters a quarter.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm not thinking, we're very, very busy, I don't need any listings. I send those letters every quarter because I know what will come further down the line.
Yeah, keep the taps firmly turned on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, lads, is there anything else to discuss before we...
No, I think we're all good. We've got another pod on Thursday. We're a little bit later this week because I've been in... actually, Ian, I'd be interested to hear you if you're interested in selling any properties in Marbella. We'd love to see the.
Well, do you know what?
We'd love to see the videos.
One of someone I know as parents have got a place in Marbella. We actually met up with them yesterday and the day before, and they've got it on the market currently at €3.5 million.
Oh wow!
And the commission is 10%.
Wow!
In Marbella, so. Obviously I was thinking, hang on a minute.
Not to see the video. This large place in Marbella.
So, you think, hang on a minute, like I'm leaving Cheshire. Let's move to Palmer.
Yeah.
But I don't think they sell that many. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? But I don't think...
You say that, though. But I think, there's a lot of places that are still behind. If you look at the quality of marketing over there, it's no surprise that they don't sell them because it looks like a bag of crisps.
Of course. Also,
it's not going to go anywhere.
Do you know what? Also, my friend was saying that they had a viewing recently, and the agent turned up late. Wasn't there beforehand to open the open the pool doors and to get all the light, all that sort of stuff. 10%.
And the thing is, if you're spending £3.5 million, it's a big trust exercise, isn't it? If you're rocking up in a country that you think, I really want to do this, I'm not sure about it, blah blah blah, and then the professional standards are so low, even at a low level of just doing a viewing, that could be enough to put you off a £3.5 million purchase. You're not buying a bag of crisps. It is a three, because I've got one of my business partners elsewhere in another business I'm part of. He's really interested in buying a place in Marbella, and he found it really difficult because the professional standards of the agents that he was dealing with were just so low. And he said to me, have you got any contacts? And I said, no. But ironically, while I was out in Marbella, one of the guys I was with is quite into properties in the Middle East, and he's got a few contacts out in Marbella. So we're having a good chat about that. So watch this space is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, it had that. I mean, we're going off on a tangent here, but the thought has crossed my mind. Like another guy that I know locally he was a car dealer, did really, really well dealing in cars, ended up buying a place in Mallorca, spending more time here than back at home. He's now moved here full time and he's doing it here.
Nice.
Yeah, and he loves it, because he gets paid more, and obviously the weather is just ridiculous. But yeah, that's probably a topic for another podcast. Meanwhile, we've got some houses in Cheshire to sell.
Well, it seems like a good place to call it, lads.
Yes, let's do it. Thank you, everybody,
Thanks
for
everyone
listening, and we'll see you next week.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.